Hello, I'm James, and welcome to the Painting Crafting Minis panel. And I'm here with some really, I should say I use he, him pronouns. Sorry, I always got to remember to do that. And, but yeah, I'm here with some really fabulous people. We're going to just just hang out and shoot the shit and talk about fun, crafty stuff. And I've got some people who are really good at this stuff, and they're going to show off some of their work, some of their techniques, answer your questions. We're just going to take it on the fly, but it's going to be a pretty relaxed panel, I think, all told. Anyway, we'll go around the table and talk to everyone who's here. I guess we'll start off with Mike. Mike, actually, I don't have the stream quite up and running yet, so I'm not sure where Mike is. But Mike, you go ahead.
I think I'm beside you, one direction or another.
Okay.
Yeah, he's next to you.
Yay!
Perfect.
I knew exactly where I was. Well, that's probably a good thing. And hi, everyone. It's me, Michael, going with he, him pronouns. And yeah, I'm here because I know a thing or two about paint, models, graphic design things. I mean, pretty much I'm the one responsible for most of the look of the Dork Tales games and frames. So if you've seen one of our games, you've seen my work. So hopefully I can bring a little bit of my love and skills of paint making and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to just actually chatting about painting. It's like the good old days when you'd sit down with friends around a paint table and just talk about, social economical things and what beer you're drinking this week while painting.
While painting.
All right. After that, we will. I think our next victim will be Steve.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Deathray. Go he, him, and I paint models. I've been in the Warhammer community since I was 12, so I'm going to not age myself and just say a couple of decades, and we'll go with that.
Of course, he says that, and he's actually an award-winning modeler, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know how long I can hold that one over my head before it starts to get old.
No, he's really good. I kind of want you to show off the Tomb King's army again. I always love seeing that.
Oh, I just put them away. Actually,
okay. No,
I have one model on hand that I can show off with it, but I put everything else away as I rotate everything through my display cases.
Okay, fair enough. And then lastly, we've got Ryan.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ryan. I go by he, him. It's kind of weird being described as a professional, but I realize I get to call myself that nowadays because I do commission painting is almost my day job.
Yeah, there you go.
It feels great. But really happy to be here and just talk about painting models, painting terrain. Really happy to just share what I know and shoot the breeze.
Sounds good. All right. I guess we'll start off probably doing like a little round the table. You guys want to show off what you're currently kind of just playing with, and then we'll kind of go to the chat and we're just kind of talk about what we think might be important, and we'll just kind of go from there. Now, I'm being bad because my stuff is like all packed away over there, and unfortunately, I don't have anything. I'm kind of doing some digital stuff in the background, but not quite exactly as kind of showable as what these folks are doing. Actually, good physical stuff.
Your blur's still on. Oh, there you go.
Yep, I got it. I'm working on it. I'm working on two different screens. It's kind of confusing.
Well, I'm working on a Death Guard commission. The 6th Death Guard I'll have painted.
The 6th one.
6th Death Guard army. And I have people asking me like, hey, you paint another Death Guard army. I'm like, okay, I guess. That'll be 7.
Right. Ryan is a commission painter here in Vancouver. I don't know if he mentioned that earlier or not.
So if you happen to want anything painted. Do you normally just kind of stick to just kind of Warhammer stuff, Ryan, or do you kind of break out and do? Would you take other commissions if people are like, "Hey, I've got this model, I want it"?
Funny you mentioned that. A handful of times, I have had people reach out to me for non-Warhammer kind of model or figurine type projects. Actually, just recently I finished up a 3D print that I had to do for a client of someone's avatar from the game MapleStory. And then earlier this year, I was contacted by an individual who was trying to get like a statue, like an award statue for some, I don't know, marketing company. They're giving the award to who had the highest in sales, and I had to paint that.
You also recently had a commission to paint board game models from what was it, Alien Covenant game?
That's right, yes.
Ah, nice.
So if you want to add an extra layer of depth to your board game tokens, you can paint them too.
Oh yeah, a lot of these skills with painting miniatures are pretty transferable to other little odds and ends in the entirety of the hobby.
And what are you what are you working on, Michael? I know you had something like
Surprisingly, most of my actual hand painting days are kind of behind me now, mostly because I have limited space, and I hate to say it, but I have a huge amount of models. I was in the process of painting up a Space Wolves chapter, as in like 1,000 models. Probably in the range
Saviomaji tipped $250.
I started off with all the
Here's to many
personalities,
more
so,
years of entertainment.
There's a lot of them. Probably like
have a lot of characters, yes.
Yeah, because I mean the rank and file, like you don't really need to spend a lot of time painting them, and that's the nice thing about Warhammer, because I mean most of them are just cannon fodder anyway. So just as long as you have a body out there, it's good enough. But if you have a half decent model standing in front of them, then it actually feels half decent. I was fortunate enough that a few years ago in Victoria there was a Games Workshop sponsored tournament, and I entered in a fully painted Eldar army into that, including at the time they had what were called Dragon Riders, which I used a bunch of scratch built Cold One Riders, which are big lizard creatures, with a bunch of Eldar that I went and changed up. They had like lances with all the pennants and stuff flying off of them, and nice. It was fully painted. Entered into it and actually came in third place in the tournament, mostly because a whole bunch of points went to me, and because I was the only one that had a fully painted army.
Oh wow!
So that was beneficial. After that, unfortunately, I got my hands on the Realms of Chaos books, which was pretty popular in the first edition of Warhammer 40,000. And after I discovered Khorne the Blood God, well, I kind of have a image of my army behind me on my green screen.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I have a very large chaos army with very old models. Some of the models in it are so old that they actually are still made out of lead before they got rid of lead.
Oh,
there's some of the early Space Marine variant armors. So there's like the class 2, 3, 4 armors that are the Mark armors, and yeah, like people have seen my army and went, "Where the hell did you find this model? I didn't even think that was a thing." And it's like, well, a lot of it was when Games Workshop was just starting out, and
yeah,
I was really fortunate in the fact that they opened up a Games Workshop in Vancouver, and I went there with a few $100 from each of my friends, and basically pillaged all of the shelves in the place. This was back before GST was even a thing. So I managed to get a lot of old school models, and nowadays I've switched because hand painting is time sink, like a huge time sink.
Oh yeah.
And I've gone more digital. So I have actually backed Hero Forge now. I got down to, they were doing a Kickstarter and backed one of their subscriptions, so I'm actually a lifetime member on Hero Forge now to make their models.
That's awesome.
I printed off one of the models of, it's probably hard to see, but this is Zan the Plan when I was playing in Call of Cthulhu, and it's probably not going to yeah, of course it won't. And then recently played the Cyberpunk Spitfire, and actually printed off mine and my girlfriend's characters from it. So
cool.
I have those. I have a huge box down here with all my leftover bits and paints, and like, I don't know anyone in the hobby who doesn't have like a desk or a counter or a place that's just surrounded by models and paint debris and random. Like, my favorite thing about the entire hobby is the bits box. Like, if you don't have a bits box, you're not in the hobby.
Good old bits box. Oh, I want to break in just really quickly. So to say thank you to, and I apologize if I mispronounce this, Sadra Majid gave us $250.
Ooh.
Thank you very much. We will put that to good use. Much appreciated. Yeah, but I love the bits box. I actually have a few. My turrets are actually in range. Like scratch building things from just assorted bits.
From back in the day when I lived in Victoria and we played Warhammer on your floor all the time.
And I think I just broke one. Damn it.
I'll bring some super glue over. It'll take me 4 days to get there, but I'll get there.
Yeah, but like scratch building, like this is one of my like little tarantula turrets for like air defense. So I was for my Dark Angels army. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really liked how they came out. It's actually the top of a paint pot, like one of the paint pots. Quite happy with that one. Although I have to go make sure the other piece of it is okay. It's fallen behind my couch.
I'm really intrigued to know what everyone's like go-to army is, because like I said, I started off with Space Wolves, but then I found Chaos and Blood for the Blood God.
Dark Angels followed by Tau and Imperial Guard for me.
My first love was Imperial Guard. I'd have to say Adeptus Mechanicus.
Oh yeah, the Adeptus
Yes.
models look so good.
You are the beep boop toaster.
I am the toaster boy.
I have always been a stalwart Eldar fan. Like they were the coolest army that I could never afford when I was a teenager because everything was pewter. And nowadays I kind of have just everything because I grew up and became, a hardworking citizen, and I now have the disposable income to buy everything that I want. So I buy everything that I see.
I still find that a weird feeling when you actually have resources. Yeah.
Oh no. I need an adult. Oh shit. I am the adult. Help. I have so James earlier was commenting on my award-winning army, and so I actually have a fully converted custom made painted my own style Terracotta Warriors army from Fantasy. I made like a Tomb King's army.
They're really cool.
And as I had said, I literally had just put away all of the stuff out of the case the other night, but this is the only model that I have currently on hand from it. And it's just like it's one of my Tomb King generals on Chariot. I can't quite gotta find the money spot.
Yeah. But he's like, you should like every single trooper is changed. It's
and awesome. Yeah, there is no single model in the entire army that isn't converted, kit bashed, head swapped, weapon swapped, anything like that. Even the most lowliest of guys has some form of change made to him. I've got some in progress models. I've got I have a priestess that I've been working on. I make them out of ghouls because they're very hunched over and ancient looking. Do I have anything else on hand here? I've got
I love the banner on there. Nothing sells a model quite like pennants and banners and things just hanging off of it.
And all of the banners in the entire army. So every unit has a unit banner that identifies them, and I tried to figure out what a really interesting way of going about it, going with like, what can I put on them? And I had laughed about the idea of making like a Chinese food menu kind of thing, and had like different menu items being the different banners and all that kind of. And then I came full circle around and was just like, you know what, I'll go to the easy way to do it. And the banner literally just says what the model or the unit is. So like if I have a unit of archers, the banner literally just says archers. Swordmen, charioteers, horsemen. It only gets a little crazy once you start getting to like the character models, because then this one, obviously it doesn't say like a character model. This one I think says the Sapphire General or something along those lines.
Okay.
And then I've got dudes that are literally like the army banner bearer, and they carry giant banners. Again, I put the one I have painted and finished away, but when when he is finished, his banner will say very important banner. Because he is the very important banner.
Awesome.
And so but it, like, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of models that go with this army, and that it is my labor of love. I have been bleeding and sweating and crying into this army for probably the better part of a decade, and it is my army of love.
I seem to remember you have a big display box for that one too, right? Like,
I have 3 display cases. Can't really see it very well in if I change up my camera here real quick. You can kind of see here in the back corner, I've got like a glass display case from IKEA. I have 2 more of them in my living room that actually have lights in them and have models, and not just my weird shot glasses from around the world collection hiding behind my golf clubs.
You also made a display case for it too, that army, right? Or not a case, a display board.
A display, yes. Yeah. I made a display board for it for the competition that I participated in, which was the Dugout.
The pits.
Yeah, the Dugout Terracotta Warrior pits. I actually have one of them. In 2018, I went to China to see the Terracotta Army, and I brought one of them with me.
Aww.
So I've got really bad photos of me holding the model in front of a blurry Terracotta Army, or blurry me in front of crystal clear. As you do, because the space is so huge, you can't focus on everything at the same time. But I have him. He's actually got a special marker on his base, so I know which one he is. He came halfway around the world with me to see his inspiration. But yeah.
So we had a question from the chat, actually. So they were curious about what everyone's favorite brand of paint was.
Ooh, spicy question.
Dollar store brand. It is cheap and it works great on everything. However, like I said, I've kind of been out of the model painting for a while, so it's mostly scenery that I do now.
I played around, like, I pretty much just used the Citadel paints for a good long while. But that's only because I kind of I had a fairly big army to tackle, and I knew exactly what the colors were. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm kind of locked in on this now.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Citadel stuff, is if you once you figure it out, you just stick with them, because that's.
Yeah, I do love that cracked earth stuff. That was nice.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of when I stopped. I'm sure there's been significant development since then.
Nope, that's still a pretty solid staple in a lot of people's basing systems.
Citadel's pretty great. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Is it my turn?
Yeah, go for it, Ryan. Dive in.
Free for all.
Okay. I use a lot of different brands. Citadel fucking kicks ass, absolutely. Definitely has some products that other brands don't have, but right now my current favorite brand is the Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. This stuff is the goat. It's really good. To describe it for anyone who might be new or not as experienced in miniature painting, like amazing coverage, it's cheaper, and you get more per bottle than the Citadel stuff. It says coverage. Yeah, coverage is great. Consistency is great. You can almost airbrush with this stuff right out of the pot, and still brush it on, and it's not too watery. It's good. It's unbelievably good.
Yep. I work predominantly in Citadel Paints. I have a couple of weird oddball paints that I've picked up over the years. The Pro Acryl, again, as Ryan mentioned, I've got Pro Acryl for my white because it is the whitest of whites I've ever found. White is a very awkward paint. It can get really chalky really easily, and the Pro Acryl is very smooth. I use Vallejo for my metal colors because they make an airbrush line that just paints on so smoothly. And then, yeah, other than that, I've been just playing around with a couple of things. I've been looking for something to try Vallejo's liquid metal on. It's an alcohol-based paint that uses actual metal flakes in it, and I just haven't found anything to use it on yet, but I'm working that way. I'm getting there. I have gold, silver, and I have a copper somewhere that I'll get to. Yeah, but other than that, I have Citadel stuff, almost like there's a Citadel pot hiding just there off camera, and yeah, that's
I used to really like using oil paints for all my metals because they kind of have that weird metallic sheen to them.
Yeah.
And I used to have a metallic bronze, and I guess I hadn't used it in a while because it actually started to develop turquoise on it. Like you could see it layering.
It actually started rusting on you.
Essentially. And I'm like, you got good metal paints when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, apparently this liquid gold and liquid silver, you're not supposed to use any kind of water to wash the brushes with it. Otherwise, the brushes will rust afterwards, which I think is hilarious, and I kind of want to try it just to see if it's the case. But yeah, I use Citadel paints more because it's what I've always had, and I've always used them. Like when you're 12 and you're buying your first paints, you buy them from the place that sells the models as well, because the guy in the fancy shirt with a name tag says, our stuff is designed to go on these models. So okay, Owen, I believe you. I will buy your paints, sir. And then yeah, it just you stick with it because it's what you know.
Yeah. It's very easy to pick up and learn that whole painting system.
Yeah. It's the Citadel painting system is designed to get new people into painting models.
It's not the be-all, end-all way to paint models, but definitely a great way to get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what I've always used, and I've been pretty happy with what I've gotten put together so far. I like my armies.
I like your armies too.
They're nowhere near what you guys got, but. So we had another question. What's the weirdest material you've used in mini or terrain building?
Packing foam from a TV. I like doing sci-fi stuff, and sometimes right out of the box, you can look at something and go, "Yeah, that's a spaceport now." So you're like, "Where the hell is my white glue? I need to seal this all up and start painting." And you don't really need to do much to the foam either, which is amazing. Like, you don't need to sculpt anything in, just throw a couple like platforms on top of it, and you got yourself a spaceport.
You have to be a little bit careful which paints you use, don't you? Because I seem to remember some of them will melt styrofoam.
Anything that comes out of a rattle can will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the accelerant from the rattle can will melt styrofoam.
Gotcha.
And it's distance too. Like, if you have the rattle can, you keep it far away enough. And so, I always found if you sealed up the foam first with some white glue, just go and give it a good coat or two, leave it overnight, and then spray it, you got less of a problem.
Yeah, 100%.
You can also mix in, flour of all things into that PVA, almost like how people, when they do paper mache to like reinforce it.
Okay.
That's another way you can kind of make like an extra hard reinforcing shell on your styrofoam to make it a much better paintable surface, and just makes the whole piece more durable.
Oh, I wish I had known that before. when I made my terracotta burial ground, that would. I actually had to throw that thing out this past winter because it finally got crushed by enough different things that it died. It died the glorious death, and I tried to peel the basing material off of it because there's some textured plastic card that I used to make the bases look like it, and I got one piece off, and the rest of it's glued down with way too strong adhesive, and I just went, screw it.
So I've got not necessarily for terrain building, but for rather basing. I wanted to do like autumn leaves on the bases of my Chaos Knights, and I tried using like, construction paper or like paper I've painted brown or whatever. And I had a little like hole punch that was in the shape of leaves. And what ended up actually just being the best material was I just picked up leaves, dried them in a book for about a month, and then just used that. And ended up being the best material to make leaves. It's just use actual leaf.
Using actual leaves to make actual leaves.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm painting rocks to look like rocks.
That's like I used to always have problems finishing off my bases with my models. You'd end up with that plastic thing and you'd paint it and it never looked that great. So anytime I went to the beach, I would like drink a bottle of whatever, and then I'd reach over and start loading it up with sand. I'd take it home, I'd wash out the sand, and then you start mixing that sand with some white glue in your bottle cap, and then you start spreading that on your bases and then paint that over. You got yourself instant base cover. Yep. And it cost you like nothing other than the white glue and the time at the beach.
Yep. I think, unfortunately, the weirdest thing that I've used would be just sticks that I've picked up off the beach for when I'm walking my dog. Like twigs. I went camping, came back from walking the dog, and I had just like cargo pockets, short cargo pockets full of just twigs. And now somewhere in my room, I have a Rubbermaid container that is just full of weird looking sticks that I will use for my forest army.
Oh, and I was going to say, welcome raiders. So dinner and a game raid. Welcome. You're just come into one of our little Dork Expo. We're into our painting panel, so we're just having some guys, some very skilled painters sitting around talking about paintish stuff. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to throw them out there, and we'll have a run at them.
So I've been kind of working on a project while we're all chatting here. I had a bunch of old, I don't know if you can see it because of a green screen, but tavern style chili lime chicken wings box. Okay. And I'm slowly trying to convert it into an actual tavern. So while we're chatting, I'm making terrain.
See, now I feel so impractical. I have nothing. There's
just go get cardboard and start cutting it into little cubes or something there, James.
Just get some scissors, just kind of like quietly under the table.
You know what is amazing about that? Get some construction paper, start cutting tiny little squares, shingles. You have no idea how good something looks when you put 1,000 shingles on top of it. Make sure that they don't all line up perfectly. Go and paint that and give it some like a little bit of moss or a little bit of grit, and even bird crap up there, and you just made the coolest looking model ever. And all you did
Bird
was
crap.
well, I mean, you got to have it on top
Yep.
of a.
Oh yeah, on top
single
of
place.
buildings, 100% realism.
Yep.
All right, we got another question. Indie Development, my apologies if I mispronounced that, wants to know how much sand have you got on that base that you've got going on there?
Hi, Ross.
Ah, this is the infamous Ross.
Yes.
Hi, Ross.
How much sand? All the sand. If I can just jokingly plug something, you should stop using sand on your bases and rather 3D print your sand bases and go to 3D printed sand dune bases.ca. Yes, that's a real website. Please check it out.
Yeah. Environmentalists want you to stop stealing all the sand.
Shameless plug. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Sorry, what was that thing? What was that site again?
3D printed sand dune bases.ca.
Oh, I got another cool
Wow,
project.
that's a lot of sand.
Wow.
To answer Dortel's, yes, that was I and the rest of Hammer Pattern.
I'm gonna go grab one of the cool little projects I found in the other room, and I'll show you guys. If you want to really kick your model pictures up a notch, I'll show you how to make it. Just a second.
Doo-doo-doo. Oh.
No, sorry, we didn't use your video in time. We needed to release it on April 1st, and we didn't get your video back in time to use it. Sorry, guys.
We really do need to do like a follow-up video though, and
Yeah, that's the plan. We want to make a follow-up.
all right, what you got for us?
Okay.
Mike or Michael? Do you?
I try to use Michael professionally because it tends to let people remember my name a little better.
That's fair. Well,
you know, it's Mike's
do you
fine.
want to be professional here? Because I'm asking now, so I get it right from now on.
It's the weekend and we're crafting, so Mike is absolutely fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, so I don't know how well this is going to show up because my camera's not amazing at close up, but this is a candelabra.
With an actual candle in it?
Well, kind of, sort of. It's got a little flame at the end. It's got a candlestick. It's got a cool little decoration, and it's actually got a base on it. The base is a dime, though I've discovered if you use a nickel, it's magnetic, so you can actually get magnetic strips of several of these and just put it down as one terrain piece. So if you're doing a cathedral, you get a couple strips, you load it up with a bunch of different various candlesticks. Now my candlestick is a toothpick, so that's pretty much the full length of a toothpick. It's hot glued to the base. There's a bunch of decorative like jewelry and stuff. Went to a dollar store, found a beading kit. Kids like make their own little jewelry sets. So I just dumped on various little beads. And then the candle part itself is a Q-tip. So you actually cut the Q-tip ends. It should have the open end, and you just slot that over the toothpick. You have the point of the toothpick becomes your candle flame. You get a whole bunch of these in behind a really nice glamour shot of one of your models, and suddenly you got the best bad guy on the planet because he's in an evil cathedral waiting for your heroes to come and kick his butt.
Very nice.
Most excellent.
Speaking of which, I should see if I can find any more of the pictures of my models and put them in the background. Might as well show off some stuff.
We also had someone asking about the jump from pewter to plastic. Do you guys think that was a good change?
Ooh,
Uh,
that's an interesting question. You go.
Yes. Yes, 100%. I love being able to lick my models and not worry about any kind of lead poisoning.
Yep, fair enough. And the integrity is quite a bit better, right? Like,
So
I always had pieces falling off mine.
Yeah, so the integrity is quite a bit better when you're using a plastic-based glue on plastic-based models. The adhesion is so much stronger because it's an actual chemical reaction between the plastic and the plastic. And super glue just sometimes doesn't hold really heavy pieces very well. I know we can argue about super glue till we turn blue in the face when it comes to it, but yeah, especially with the technology advancing, plastic model kits have gotten way more detailed than what they were doing with pewter models, with more reliable, consistent I don't know, castings, moldings.
Yeah, both would apply, I think. Yeah, like I've got a broadside which I cannot get the guns on it for the life of me. Like the shape of the gun and the shape of the model are just too far apart, and the stuff doesn't hold together, and they always fall off. Like
I know exactly the model you're talking about.
Yes.
I have 3 of them in my closet, and I refuse to build them because they just don't.
Oh,
That's when you got to break out like the JB Weld.
You got and you got to bring out the drill, and you got to put a pin in it, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And there's only so much time in the day, and then before you know it, you've run out of.
I love Cahista's comment on the pewter. Don't you put it in your mouth? How many people remember that song? Oh my!
All of the Canadians in the group.
The biggest brain move was making broadside guns that were heavier than the whole model.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, it is what it is. Yeah, no, definitely. Plastic models way better than pewter models. The resin models are resin's kind of a weird, unfortunate stopgap that they've been they being Games Workshop currently, but also other model producing companies. It's just kind of a weird stopgap that's been being used. It has its place, but ultimately it's just kind of really annoying to work with, and nobody likes it. Yeah.
There was a point, specifically just go back to Games Workshop, where they were converting all of their old pewter models to resin. And they called it fine cast, and I don't know if some of you might be aware of that, but like it did not launch well.
No, many people in the community started calling it fail cast because of that.
Because they were converting these these metal molds into resin, and they had to add a whole bunch of extra like gates for the sprues, and things were just getting terribly casted, all sorts of air pockets. It was bad. But in doing so, like they kind of also preserved a lot of like the original detail the master sculpts had that were getting lost due to the age of the metal molds. So I guess that's kind of one thing about metal models is that if the mold gets too old, you start to lose a lot of detail.
Yep, 100%.
I can't remember. Was it the Manta was fine cast, wasn't it?
Manta? No, well, that was just resin.
Forge World resin is different than fine cast.
Oh, okay.
They are similar enough because in that they're both resin, but they are very different things. And the big part about it being that the casts are made to be resin, where the fine cast stuff is it was a pewter mold that had been just sort of like repurposed to run resin.
Okay.
Like you can, so that's why, as I say, it was a stopgap. There's the gap.
I feel kind of fortunate because James introduced me during the pandemic to the concept of the virtual tabletop.
Oh yeah.
And ever since I got into doing more Hero Forge stuff, one of the options for printing off models is STL files, and so you can print your own models at home. But then they introduced the virtual tabletop models, so you can craft your own models and then play them on a virtual tabletop, which I think is amazing. And I really want to kind of get more into that kind of stuff where you can have virtual tabletops, because the capacity to have massive armies is like mind-blowing.
Yeah. I've been playing around with tabletop and simulator and VTT some. I've had some. I still got to play around with VTT more. I barely looked at it, but it's like, okay, this has got some neat capacity. A little hard, challenging to learn though. I just got to sit down and actually take some time with it.
Fair enough.
We have another question. What's the biggest single piece you've worked on?
I once was contacted by an individual to do a garage kit, which is like, I'm not really super familiar with the terminology, but like kind of these like limited run, large display pieces. I think the terminology comes from like, you make them at a garage, and then the mold only lasts so long. And it was this like almost 2 foot tall Batman Beyond statue that came in a bunch of pieces, and I got like one of the last castings out of that run, and so I had a lot of air bubbles and stuff that I had to fix, but the thing was massive once all put together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
I remember seeing. Sorry, this is
like, go for it.
Not connected to like I saw one guy actually working on like a garage style model, and he actually was doing his thing was like trains, but he actually had this whole model that would actually like took up most of his garage, and it actually had like a cutout in it where we'd actually like drive the car in, and the car was designed to fit, like the model was designed to fit around the car. So the whole thing was basically, so he had like huge amounts of space for it. It was just like, it was all rigged with supports and everything like that. It was really something to see. We're just walking past like the guy's house, and we're just like, hey, can we look at your stuff? That looks awesome.
Can we look at your train set for a moment?
Yeah.
I mean, that's when the wife says yes, you can move your trains into the garage. You make it work. Or significant other of any, of whatever.
Yep.
When you get permission, you push that permission to the max.
I think the largest model I have, and I don't know why I bought it, it was a high elf lord sitting on a rampaging war griffin, and of course it's exactly what it sounds like, a griffin on his hind legs, his claws out, his beak just ready to eat somebody's face off. And then the elf lord on the back, he has like his little kind of half thrown saddle with jewels and pennants and stuff hanging all over it, and the griffin's wings just kind of stretched out. And I'm like, I don't know anything about high elves, but I need that model in my life. So I got it, I painted it, and it easily became my biggest and most ambitious model to date that I've ever done. And it's in storage somewhere with a lot of toilet paper wrapped around it, because I'm kind of afraid to have it just sitting around. I kind of get the feeling one day me or one of my cats is going to knock it off of a shelf.
That's what you need the display case for, man.
Yeah. Something
with a door, and then with the door you can put like a child safety lock on it so that the cats can't just somehow get the door open. And if they do, like, then they deserve everything that they get in it.
That sounds like my cats.
Biggest model I can't even think of what I don't know.
Mine's not too surprising. I think it's probably my Land Raider. My Land Raider, or the Tau hover transport. What was Devilfish?
Devilfish.
There we go.
Biggest model. I don't know. Ryan, you know what my collection kind of looks like. You gotta. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
I guess your knights.
I don't know. They're I don't know.
I mean, do you have like do you have any of the big Tau stuff?
No, not currently.
Yeah.
Baneblade?
I've got a Baneblade. I kind of have it painted.
Well, okay, there you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, that's probably it then.
I don't know. I feel like I have something bigger that's just hiding like just out of reach. And I'm like, is this kind of thing? Like, yeah, I've got like, you know, up on one of the shelves there, I can see it. I've got a Nagash model and a Mega Gargant.
Maybe Nagash then.
Quite possibly Nagash. He's unpainted. He's on my list of things to paint. I built him, which is a good start.
Yeah, that still counts as being worked on.
Yeah. I think I've got a zombie dragon that I painted in a big sit down and paint something thing that I did. I recorded my whole process, and in 30 hours I painted an entire army of ghouls. Actually, last year on this stream last year, I was working on the test model for that army, and it worked out really, really well. And it's probably currently the biggest thing I have painted.
Yeah, those were impressive too. Like, there was so much gore.
They are swimming in it. Like, literally, there was one guy, and I dropped him, and he landed in the pile, like in the on the painting palette, and I was like, oh well, you're covered in gore now. Congratulations, sir. This is now your life. Yeah, I got zombie dragon. I'm working on a tree man.
Yeah, is this your like burnt one?
For my forest fire army?
Yeah, I love that idea. Oh,
they start out quite painfully orange, and then they get darker.
I could imagine, right? Like that underlay. Oof.
Like,
but yeah, he's doing like an entire like, is it mostly a dryad force, isn't it?
Yep, the Sylvaneth is the actual Games Workshop name for them, and they are tree spirit people, and
like going for that whole forest fire aesthetic, so it's like embers glowing inside them.
Oh, and they start out orange.
Oh, jeez. That is viciously orange.
Yes, it is viciously orange is a very good way of putting that. If you give me 1 sec, I will go and grab one of the fully painted ones, so you can kind of see the difference in it. I'll be right back.
Larry Treeman, attorney at law.
Microphone off.
Can I reach anything in my display case? Maybe. I'll wait until Steve gets back.
I'm going to show everyone a wet blend live on camera.
Sorry, what in the what?
Wet blending live on camera.
Oh, okay. What you said before, I wasn't sure we're allowed to do that on camera.
Oh, and I found the picture of my scratch-made dragon riders.
Ooh,
nice.
Oh man, look at that classic goblin green basing.
Yeah, that's before I discovered the sand technique to fix everything. So.
Yeah, actually, I really like some of the movement trays they've been using for like Warhammer Fantasy. You can do some pretty cool stuff with those. I know at least on one streaming service they have it was like a zombie army, but like the rest, like half the zombies are basically like a graveyard behind, like, and then they're like emerging as they kind of move forward until they're actually like fully up and going at the front. Kahista is asking what armor you're working on there, Ryan.
Death Guard.
Death Guard. Praise Nurgle.
Lord of Grandfather.
Yep. He has always been my favorite of the Chaos Gods. But I love the lore behind him too. Like,
yeah, they're creepy.
Yeah. Was it the Nurgle Hounds? Like they're the ones who are just like really happy to see everyone, and they just want to come over and just kind of like they're like giant puppies.
Oh,
giant demon
Nurgle.
puppies. Yeah.
Yeah. The beasts of Nurgle, they're just like giant puppies, and they're like, oh, I want to play with everyone, and then they go and play with people, and they're like, oh, why they stop moving?
Yeah, and then they get all sad, and then they go find someone else, and it's
okay. I'm back. Sorry about that.
Foreign disease. Yeah.
Okay. I also grabbed a couple other models while I was out there because I'm like, hey, I can do this.
Cool.
So they start like that.
Okay.
And they end up like that.
Oh. Very nice. I love the honeycomb effect there too.
I know, right?
Is that actually on the model, or is that something that you?
That's on the model. That's printed into the model, or not printed, but molded into the model, cast into the model.
Yeah.
And there's the sticks that I picked up on my walks. I've used them for the fallen ash bases of stuff. Yeah. So I have a forest fire army that I've been working on. It was originally a secret project. I actually did it with very little input from outside of my household, basically. I had like just total blanket silence. Nobody else kind of gave any kind of input on it, so it all came out of my head as I was working on it. And I had Ryan here and one other person that was just kind of like hey, does this look okay? Yes, no, and then that was it.
But actually,
do I jump back over here?
Actually, your that army of yours actually inspired one of my characters.
Oh, cool!
And I
grabbed my zombie dragon while I was out too.
Oh, Demolisher! Oh yeah, there's the little. Oh yeah, I love that piece. Oh, so gooey. Very nice.
There's a certain joy in playing Warhammer and having like some cool character go up against a creature like that, and you just want to take a moment and just appreciate. It's like, if this was the real thing and I get to witness it, like, I would be having a really good day or the worst day of my life.
Yeah, one of the two. Not really sure which. And then I pulled this out of there because I was like, wow, this is probably also this is right in line with one of the biggest things that I've painted.
Oh man!
Recently, the Black Coach.
The Black Coach is not a model. The Black Coach is a diorama on a base.
It's true, but it is still painted.
Yeah.
Almost. I have to finish the base. I have so many of my models are just like, they're painted up to a certain point and then the base is just left blank and awful.
So we had a question. They are wondering if you guys both do streaming of your painting and model work.
I do not myself. I'm trying to, but it just I don't have a lot of the free time needed to do it. However, Ryan.
Yes. I stream with my buddies, my co-hosts, every Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Perfect.
And I'm basically just doing stuff like this while my buddy's doing 3D modeling.
What does your buddy like to 3D model it with?
He uses Blender.
Blender.
We're learning Blender because not only do we do like just those kind of hobby content, but sometimes we make animations.
Yeah.
Warhammer.
Very nice. I actually teach Blender to kids. It's one of
my
job. Yeah.
Blender's great. Oh my god, it's so fun.
I've been using Maya for a long time, as well, but we just switched over to Blender this year, so
Yeah.
it's a change. It's definitely like strange to try to like find I'm like, I know I can do this because I've done it in Maya. Where the hell is it?
Oh my god, right? I could talk about that all day.
At least they fixed the right hand click thing. That was they've dealt with that for the default now. It's like, okay. We also had a question. Do you have a recommendation for an entry level 3D printer?
Ooh. Well, it depends on like what's the type of stuff you want to make.
Yeah.
If you're more in thinking about like making terrain, or basically anything that isn't like a miniature to game with, then you can get away with using a filament type printer. I forget the acronym for that one.
It's FDM.
Yeah, that's right, FDM. But then if you want to do miniatures, you want a resin type printer. I have some stuff that I printed over here.
Which is an SLA printer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's some Dead Space Marines I made and printed. And you can get like, I guess, Games Workshop level detail, like, or yeah,
close to Games Workshop level detail.
Pretty close to, yeah, like the stepping or the detail that you can get out of these is equivalent to saying going to a game store and buying miniatures. And I forgot, I lost my train of thought.
It depends on what you want to do with the 3D printing. As far as like entry level printers go, if you're looking to do terrain type stuff like an FDM printer, the Creality Ender 3 is a good starting point. I just got one myself recently. One of Ryan's co-hosts at Hammer Pattern also got himself one, and he's been going nonstop since he got it. Been printing everything that he can find. He actually ended up last night. We were hanging out on Discord, and he was sort of in the darker areas of the printerverse, looking at looking at the NSFW section and going, "Why would you print this?"
Because you can.
And if you're looking at like printing models for Dungeons and Dragons or like tabletop games, board games, whatever you like, then an SLA printer, resin-based printer is the way you're going to want to go. And both Ryan and I run the Photon, the Anycubic Photon.
Yeah. But the Anycubic Photon is going out of.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're replacing it with different models. One that I hear a lot of people swear by for an entry-level printer is the Elegoo Saturn. Or Saturn or Mars. One of those. But, yeah.
That
like,
pretty much sums it up.
As for price, though, like, expect to drop about $500 to get into it. But the real cost in getting into the 3D print hobby, sure, like you have the initial like sticker shock of getting the machine and getting your supplies, but the real cost comes in feeding it in material and replacement parts, and you will need to replace parts.
Yeah. Not so much with the FDM printers; they're a little more durable because of the nature of them. But the SLA printers, they're very much you need to.
Yeah, and just like any other like a regular paper printer, they are very angry and bellicose machine spirits. They will spell your fear. Do not let them win. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
My last one
pretty much sums it up. Yeah, you had James. You had a 3D printer there for a while. We both did. We had an A8 and a net.
Yep, and then mine. Well, it managed to blow some fuses. I'm not quite sure if there's any magic smoke left in it. I have to go kind of It's sitting in the
You
corner.
need to have an
there.
electrician come and look at it.
Yeah, I'm really not. I think the board cooked, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
and, you know,
that's-
it's already aging too, right? Like, so it's like, do I really want to
See,
repair
that's-
it or get something?
So
that's a little bit more worthy?
my ANET
Yeah.
started to burn. One of the connectors actually like had internal fire happening. So I decommissioned it. I was like, no more.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually going to convert the frame and board into a CNC router.
Okay.
Yeah, just to see what I can do with it. I figure worst case scenario, I can make a little bit of money at work by, making labels for things that we normally would spend way too much money buying them from a company.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can I think I'll probably, because my needs have changed. I think I'm probably looking something more like what you got. So if you want my old one, you can probably use it if you want.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep that in mind next time I come by if we manage to hang out.
Yeah, it's been sitting there for a long time, so you're welcome to it if you want.
Yeah, mine's sitting up there, not doing anything.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a question. Where's your favorite place to get STLs from?
I pull most of mine off of Thingiverse. It's just kind of the easy and free place to get my STLs from.
Yep.
I have printed a couple of things from, I think it's Hero Forge, where you can they have a program where you can design your own characters and then buy the STL for $7 or whatever it is.
Oh, we're actually getting a question. What is an STL? We probably should explain that.
An STL is a stereolithography file. Basically 3D geometry meant to be read for a 3D slicer program, which converts that into essentially a bunch of image, like MRI layers for the 3D printer to understand and read how to print the thing the shape, the model.
Basically slices that you can kind of print on. Actually, essentially kind of it's essentially just like a printing on paper, except it's just content.
It's multiple layers of paper laid over top. So an STL is basically just it's the 3D object file that you download to then print.
Yeah. My favorite place to find STL files is a website called Colts 3D, which weird name I know, but it sticks. Lot of great stuff, great community there with people also providing free models as well as paid models. There's also My Mini Factory. That's a little bit more in the realm of more professional, more higher quality stuff. Typically, things are more sold on there than given freely.
Yep.
But one thing that I found is an extremely invaluable tool is a search engine website specifically for 3D models called Yeggi. That would be YEGGI.
Okay.
And you can type in just about anything, and it will query all these websites, including Thingiverse and a few others, for roughly what you're looking for.
Yep. Usually, if you punch in into a Google search engine, D&D building STL, hit enter. Usually the top 3 options that pop up, one of them will be Yeggi with all of the things that it found.
Yeah.
Usually.
Mostly.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, so
sorry, go ahead.
Quick update on the Chicken Wing Tavern. It's coming along. It actually has a little sign over the door that says cold beer. So
Holy moly. See, I haven't been paying attention to what you've been doing. I've been kind of just working on my own thing and answering questions.
So yeah, I could go. I have a little bottle of Mod Podge here. I could go and cover that and then start painting it. I could probably have it all done and dry by tomorrow. So if I was playing a game tomorrow, you got a party place for all your characters to hang out right at the beginning of the game.
All right,
you met in a tavern.
Nah.
I have one question. Should I have been cutting up shingles all this time?
Oh, I could have put them on the roof.
I was like, oh, is there actually expected output there? Oh my.
Yes, and now you've let us down.
Aw.
I'm kidding, James. You'd never let us down.
Oh, you know I would.
I know you would. I know your history. I know you can't tie knots worth anything.
They gave me the big boy Velcro kit.
There's another inside joke for you that nobody will get except for 2 people.
Or anyone who reads Farside.
Yeah, I suppose it's... Yeah, never mind.
Oh, thank you, Bong. Bong is complimenting my beard.
Nice beard.
Coming in nicely.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out how to, like, kind of keep it at a set level, right? Like, kind of shave it down. I'm just so afraid to be like, eat, and then, like, have, like, a big gap out of it.
See, I had that fear, and then I just swallowed my pride, and now I just pay somebody to do it for me. You know, what do I... When your options are accidentally, whoops, shave it off, or spend some money, just go get your hair cut, go get your beard trimmed professionally at a barber.
Did we have any more questions? Because if not, I have one.
Please go ahead. I haven't had. I think we've exhausted all the ones I've gotten so far. So yeah, if anyone else wants questions, please put them in. We'll happily tackle them. But go ahead, Ryan. Go
What's
for
the story behind James getting killed by Rainbow Dash?
it. Okay. So last DorkX, was it last DorkX?
Yep, it was last DorkX.
Anyway, there was a no prep game where Kelly basically we had no idea what we were going to run, and so basically had to kind of just throw it into a game, and he had to run it.
By the way, we have another one this year. So
yeah,
it's actually tonight. It's the last panel tonight.
Yeah, so it should be fun. Go check it out if you want to. But I was playing a certain character, and then certain events happened, and a certain flying rainbow pony suddenly like exploded in and basically turned my character into blood mist and bone chips.
Oh, your insides became your outsides. I see.
Yes. So after that, I pledged my vengeance, and it's kind of become this like running joke. And
they made T-shirts about it.
Yeah, we made T-shirts about it. It's like our one of our best-selling designs. We even had. There was even another game where I got to have my revenge.
Oh, I didn't know that there was a revenge game.
Oh yeah, there was a revenge game. I got it was like I invaded like Robin ran it, second gen gamer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I invaded Equestria, and then like, oh yeah,
you remember me?
Pretty much. I was tricking them and like kind of leading them around by the nose, and then achieving demonic power. And yeah,
see, you're gonna have to go and find all of those and link them up in the Dork Tales Wikipedia with the epic tale of James and Rainbow Dash, because
I believe that's Traz's job now.
I get that. I'm not saying you
Traz.
Specifically. I'm just kind of like
do it.
hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Got to make it easy to find for the people that want to know, because we keep talking about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a story behind it, and that story just keeps getting more and more legendary every time it gets told.
I think we need more parts to it too. I think we have to have like second gen like run a sequel section at some point. Maybe we can do that for like Extra Life or something like that.
That would actually be really funny.
That would be cool.
I think I was playing a game. It was like what is it? Lord of the Rings Mordor game, where they had the Nemesis system for all of your orc opponents, and I had one orc who just kept showing up, and every time he would show up after I defeat him, he'd have like a metal arm, and then he'd have like half of his head missing, and then he would just like get longer names like bad guy, like
bad guy plus
revenge, bad guy undying, and I'm just like, who is this guy and why does he keep showing up? And I kind of get that feeling that's like the story of James and Rainbow Dash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Shadow of Mordor, right? Like the video game?
That's the one.
Yeah. Well, that they actually like they reworked that system in the second game too. and made more things that happen when you defeat or get defeated by enemies.
I haven't ever.
Oh yeah, that was
So
the big
unexpected.
thing. That
Yeah.
was the big thing about it, was that every time you were defeated, they got bigger, and every time you defeated them, because they all the bad guys would be doing stuff in the background.
I wish more games did that. I think it's a brilliant system.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. There was even in the second game they even had a humiliation option. So there was 3 things you could be defeated, defeat them, or humiliate them, and you could you had even special things go on if you humiliated them multiple times, and
Oh, that would be a terrible thing for me to do. I would just go around humiliating everybody. Never kill them. Just constantly humiliate my enemies.
Yeah. I think it was at some point they started breaking down into tears, and they're just like, no. And you're just like, well.
I like doing that kind of stuff with my models because, I mean, you'd have an army and your army would go off, and if they get defeated, occasionally you would bring back, your army, and you could go and give a guy a new bionic arm, or you could give a guy different awards for how great he was doing, and over time your army would slowly start to evolve because of that.
Oh man, I love doing that. That exact thing. I've had one example. I was doing a narrative campaign with my Chaos Space Marines against my buddies, other Chaos Space Marines. We're playing different legions, and I had one guy, just a rank and file guy, who had a knife and a bolt gun and a regular rifle, and he ended up just holding the line against 6 other dudes in combat for across the whole game. Just would not die, and he just kept taking out his opponents. And from that point, he all right, you get a better gun. You're now a squad sergeant.
Congratulations, you're in charge.
That is
you feel like they deserved it too.
All right, we got another question. Do you have any tips on making a mold of a 3D printed figure / dice without it arresting the setting of the silicone?
Oh goodness, that is outside my wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's outside mine too.
Try that one again. Just
all right. Do you have any tips on making a mold of a 3D printed figure or dice without it arresting the setting of the silicone?
Without it arresting the setting of the silicone of the mold?
Yeah, I'm guessing so. If you have a plastic figure and you're like, okay, I really like this one, I want to make other copies of it, maybe a good goblin or something like that. How would you does that? I mean, I've never tried that process myself, so I don't know.
I've done very little. I've done very little of that stuff. I mean that the silicone is usually a 2-part. It's a silicone and an accelerant, and the only thing that would arrest the silicone's curing time would be if you're either pulling it out before it's done, or you didn't get your mixed quantities correct.
Yeah, we do know someone who actually has a dice business where they make dice and things like that. So we might be able to run that past them. Yeah.
But yeah, other as Ryan says, that's also outside of my wheelhouse. I've dabbled in it, but I've never really gotten to expert level on.
Yeah, the extent of silicone casting I've done was to make a bunch of bases, and I only made a 1-part mold. Where
press mold.
Sorry?
A press mold.
Well, not even press mold. I had quick set silicone rubber that I mixed up and poured it, and then I left it for a day, and it was good to go. Other than that, yeah, that's all I can really offer.
My experiences are all old school. I did plaster and I've done metal, and in those circumstances, Vaseline and baby powder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
not really sure the exact problem that they're kind of suffering from.
Yeah,
so can't really help.
They did add on a little bit. I think it was the Bong Master. Some resins prevent silicone from setting around a model.
Oh.
So yeah.
So maybe you need some sort of, I don't know, maybe baby powder or Vaseline coating the model.
Yep, or even just like a clear coat it with a spray paint.
Oh yeah, maybe just varnish it.
Yeah, Kelly was suggesting possibly cooking spray.
Yeah, I think it would be one of those things you just. Unfortunately, we're the wrong group to ask. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things that you'd maybe use in like a vacuum chamber to evacuate any air pockets, or possibly like some sort of vibrating plate to make everything settle?
It sounds more like they're struggling with like the chemical, like something in the resin causes the silicone to not set properly.
Do resins like off gas?
Some of them do. It might be this change your resin type.
Yeah.
See, you can tell we're all model makers because we're trying to troubleshoot something that's out of our wheelhouse, and everyone's coming up with amazing plans. It's like, well, you could try this, you could try that.
Yeah, I mean, like this is I've tried some stuff, but I haven't set a whole bunch because usually it's just easier to hit the print button again and just print another copy of it.
Yeah.
I like Michael's solution though. Any excuse to make a vacuum chamber is always an idea in my own.
Man, I want a vacuum chamber.
It's on my list of things to do.
If you don't have a project that doesn't involve some sort of safety gauge with a red line area in it, you're not doing the hobby any justice.
I have enough safety gauges at work. I don't need any safety gauges in my off time. Warning lights are for chumps.
Oh. Unless you're orcs, then it's the big red button.
Well, orcs don't believe in warning lights anyway.
All the controls just go faster. There is no break. There is no slowdown. I kind of
assume they would have them just for the sake of having them, right? Because they're fun to look at, right? It's like
have any of you painted
go boom and big engines go have all the things go red line, and you're like, wah!
Have any of you painted space orcs? And if you've used any other color than red, why?
Because
yeah, there's some rules for that now, isn't there? I think there was.
There's always been rules for red
going
vehicles.
faster.
Red vehicles get an extra inch of movement.
There was what?
So I'm painting a Mega Knob army. Orc Mega Knob, Orc Mega Armor. It's the Death Wing.
God damn it! We're gonna have to have a battle at some point.
I know. Actually, hang on. Let me put that in the water. Put this on the lid, and I've got metallic paint in my paint water, which is great. Yeah. And where's my camera? There's my camera.
Oh, hey, nice. Very nice.
He's my mega armored war boss, and he is not completely red.
Very cool.
Actually, all of the scenery that I'm working on is to go with the orc army as well.
I was kind of wondering, is that actually like kit stuff, or is that like?
Yep, this is kit stuff. This is orcs. What the heck did it come with? A mech workshop. It's just like a mechanics workshop, and it's just piles of the motors and wheels and gears and sprockets and nuts and everything like that.
Yeah, and I love that. You could use that in just about anything. Or you actually
just piles of stuff.
Yeah.
Is it what it boils down to? It's just a big old pile of crap. I'm going to put some paper towel there so that these things can drip appropriately on the paper towel and not on my expensive new desk.
Do you find when you're painting different armies, especially for Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000, do you have to kind of put your head in the mind space of the model that you're painting and try to think about what it is that they would, I don't know, decorate themselves with, what they would what they would put on themselves, like, I don't know, face paint, or what color they would paint their armor or their weapons, if any at all. Do they keep it clean? Do they not care how clean it is?
Oh, definitely. Because like making decisions like that adds a lot of extra character to your models, and just personality in general, and that will really shine through once it's all said and done. It's really fun to look at someone's collection or army and see all those little, I guess, like Easter eggs, right? All those little like loving details someone's put into their collection. Like for example, these Death Guard, like I could have painted them hyper clean, but since they're
Death Guard,
they worship Nurgle, the god of rot and death and entropy. Of course, their armor is going to be like just encrusted with all sorts of grime and crap and rust, and so yeah, I'm gonna go to town weathering these boys.
Yeah,
but as opposed to saying like I'm painting Tau, like they're supposed to be like this imperialistic, idealistic empire. Of course, they're gonna keep their stuff super clean and crisp and nice. Yeah.
Like they just basically stormtroopers who just jumped off the ship.
Yeah.
We got a question from Victor Von Champ. What's the longest you've ever spent looking for a piece you dropped on the floor?
Oh God.
I found a way to find it every time. Take all your shoes and socks off and walk around and think about Lego pieces. You will find it.
A little dangerous when you have dice in the house. That's all I'm gonna say.
Definitely in one sitting, like 3 hours.
Oh, nice.
Rearrange the whole space, trying to find it.
Lost pieces for you are a bit different because you do commission work. So like it's not necessarily your piece that you've lost. You have to find that thing. I can't say that I've spent like solid hours looking for something on the floor, but I have sort of pointedly neglected to vacuum certain areas in the hopes that something will just turn up. After the fact, sort of like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's like, okay, I found the piece, I can vacuum the back room now.
I have a not my personal experience, but I have a story I want to relay from Steve and I's friend Jind. He was building a model kit called Belisarius Call, and on that kit he has like a little robot hand holding keys, but the 2 fingers holding the keys in this pose are separate bit to the rest of his arm, and dropped it, lost it on his hardwood floor for like 6 months, and while randomly cleaning, he found it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I forgot all about that. You lucky bastard.
I can freely admit I've been on the ground with my eyeball as close to the ground as possible, with a light shining back towards my eye, going, "Where's the shadow? Where's the shadow? I can see a shadow."
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, so I just put up a picture of my my Blood God scratch built Dreadnought.
Oh my God, that model's older than me.
It is old. On it is a power arm, which is the base of a Eldar laser cannon, which got all bent. There's a bunch of random cables and struts. There's a plasma cannon. There's a rocket launcher, and yeah, if you know anything about the hobby, you'll know that is old.
As Ryan said, it's definitely older than him.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh man, what edition did it have where it had the like the damage cards where you rolled for what effect happened?
I started playing when it was still Rogue Trader. It was practically a role-playing game that just kind of started introducing the concept of skirmishing.
I mean, the old vehicle rules from like second third, fourth edition had like you would roll on a table to see what happened to your vehicles.
Here, let me grab all the cards for you. Just a second.
They were great. It was just like was it like blowing out drive shaft? The entire vehicle goes flipping over in a massive wreck and explodes.
Okay, that was before my time.
That might have been Gorka Morka. That sounds like Gorka Morka.
I have no.
Actually,
I don't
that
remember.
sounds very Gorka Morka-ish.
Let's see here. We have a question from Wonka. How do you find inspiration to create a miniature like the ones like what motivates you? Like what makes you motivated to do one?
Oh man,
think about that one.
Money.
Well, when it comes to commission painting, yeah, absolutely, money. Well, speaking more purely in the terms of like my own personal collection, like collections, I should say, the lore for the most part, and just trying to explore concepts in it that I feel are underrepresented or not represented at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cool concepts. Like I want to do an Age of Sigmar army that's all like the Da Vinci punk style. Like hang on, I got this thing. Coincidentally, check that out. Got the old.
I was wondering what that was when you were building it.
Yeah. Hang on, it's just lodged right now, but it rotates freely. Like I wanted to do a whole Age of Sigmar army themed after like Da Vinci's inventions.
I can also see that being like that flying dwarf faction.
Oh yeah.
I could see that working. Yeah.
So really, inspiration can kind of come from anywhere.
So yeah, I got the old cards. Let's see. Here's a mission card.
Those are the ones. Those are the ones I remember.
Here's what do we want?
Okay, so those are before I got into Warhammer 40k.
Wow.
Space Marine Predator tank. There's some Imperial Guard Land Speeder. There's my ever famous Chaos Marine Dreadnought.
Wow.
My favorite is all the templates that you could use. So there'd be like, you put it down to explode stuff. There's the
it was like for plasma cannons and stuff like that.
The orc psyker, yeah. From you just have the giant ghost foot go and stomp people.
Okay. All right, let me see here. How does this work? I see what's going on.
We also had a question of, let's see here. We got about 10 minutes left, so I'm just kind of whipping through what we got available. Yeah. Have you ever put any electronics in your pieces?
No, but I want to. Steve, have you?
No, I haven't. I've contemplated it, but ultimately, I'm an electrician by trade. I put electronics pieces into things at work, but I don't really want to do it in my off time.
It's not a hobby thing.
It's not it's like the mechanic doesn't like having a hobby car because he doesn't want to work on cars when he gets home from work.
Yeah, I can see that.
I debated it. I thought about it. I've got some flyers that would look really cool with lights in them, and then ultimately just went no.
Yeah.
I'm a professional sign designer, so I kind of put lighting into cool things like podium signs and those nifty like halo lit signs and things like that. So I am kind of doing that, but it's at a 1-to-1 scale. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've never done that at small scale. I'd be interested because some of the LED lighting they have nowadays is small enough that you can just put it on a vehicle and light it up.
I do have one buddy who takes it like a whole extra step and is like putting in like Arduino programming and stuff, motors. It's crazy.
there was someone at one of we had a painting competition, I believe it was at the Games Workshop here in Vancouver, and someone had an Emperor's Children Rhino that had a speaker and like iPod built into it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it played music. Like I can't remember who that was. Who was that?
I don't remember either.
It doesn't matter.
Wow,
if you're in the chat, speak up.
We also had a question of speaking of Age of Sigmar, how do you feel about the new timeline / reboot thing that GW did a while back?
Like the end times?
The end times, and then resolving the old world and then bringing Age of Sigmar. I don't know. I never was really into the old world or fantasy battles, and I'm not really into Age of Sigmar enough to really have an opinion. I mean, I understand why they did it, because fantasy battles, like as a product, was dying.
Yeah. Warhammer Fantasy Battle was fat, bloated, and very gatekeepy, and it needed to change. I don't know. As someone who has a fairly extensive Tomb King army, I found it to be quite annoying that they decided to kill off my faction.
Yeah.
They also did it for copyright reasons too.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah, it's easier to copyright something if it's not Egyptian skeletons.
Yeah.
I figured out how to change my background so that it's stuff.
Yes.
I've got my. Which way do I have to go to get out of here?
Every way. See, that would be cool if you could light that thing up. I know those little troopers are like too small for it, but it'd be kind of cool. If
yeah. Whoa, jump out of the thing. No, they would be too small. You'd have to almost like cast them in some kind of orange resin and then have an LED up through the bottom. I don't know. It would be too much. I mean, they work. They work quite glowy as they are because of how bright they are, and you know, you get a nice sunny day and they're just beaming.
What about like glow in the dark kind of style paints?
You know what else? You want to know what else you could do? You could get like a smoked glass or like a mirrored out piece of glass, put them on top of that, suspend it, and then put a bunch of small little like glow tea lights underneath them and get pictures
so the
of
ground is
way.
glowing.
Yeah, so it looks like embers glowing upwards, and then they get the lighting from that.
Yeah,
that could make for some amazing pictures. Yeah,
it could. I mean, as it stands, I actually put a pearlescent medium into the paint, so they have a bit of a glitter to them. You can't catch it on camera; you have to see it in person. But it works out as it is. Yeah. That's it. I've hit a point in my painting where I'm no longer able to proceed because I have to wait for the paint to dry.
Well, I think we're only down to a couple minutes left. So
yeah.
Oh, I think someone was asking after old school dreadnoughts. I'm not sure if he heard yours. There's your old school dreadnought.
That's the old one. He's
that way.
He's got a bunch of scratch built stuff. I ripped the actual arms off and gave it all, a very chaos feel. So
I'm gonna see if I can find my Terracotta army. An image of my Terracotta army for you guys, because that's the thing I love to flaunt whenever I get the opportunity to.
Yeah, it's super impressive.
I just need to figure out where I put it.
Yeah.
Is it there? No. Is it here? Random photos.
Ryan, how big's that army that you're building there?
Well, I've got these. How many Terminators is this? There's a bunch of Terminators. I don't know. I can't count right now. Three. An amount. I've got these Terminators characters. These 3 float drones. A bunch of zombies. And then I haven't built the other half of this, which is about 14 Plague Marines, a tank, and then the big dude, the Demon Primarch Mortarion.
Oh, he's getting the full Mortarian treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that's an impressive army.
It's about 1,500 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've almost just also finished up a White Scars army. That's about 2,000 something and change points.
Aha.
No, I don't.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, there we go. Okay, I gotta do the thing again. I gotta like lean way back.
The screen, Steve. Anyway, there's the army.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's all of my stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's something to see close up too.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
I have to lean way out awkwardly to make the camera not see me.
I know it's an undead army. We do have one. We got maybe one last question we can pull off here.
Okay.
Chef Eladeth has asked, can you do a glow in the dark top layer? So the painted skeleton or Reaper fig has a glow in the dark effect on the bones without changing the look in normal lighting.
I guess that's a question of like, can you find a glow in the dark paint that's clear?
Yeah.
And not too thick too, because I'm not sure. It depends on the properties of the glow in the dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, are you looking for glow in the dark, or are you looking for like luminescent under black light? Because that might be easier to find. I don't really know.
Fluorescent paints also do that effect under UV. So if you can find fluorescent paints,
I think the downside to glow in the dark is you're turning the lights off to watch it glow, which is cool, but the lights are off. You can't really see. Like, you want to show off your model, not the fact that it glows when you can't see it.
Yeah.
Mind you, with like a black light or something like that, you can kind of suffuse, be under fairly normal light and still see that effect, right? So
yeah, that's true.
That's probably the better angle, I would imagine.
I believe.
I think you can get like fluorescent mediums or additives that you can add to paints, so you can do that effect.
I mean, I've got I think Vallejo makes a fluorescent color line.
Yeah.
Where is my button? There it is. Button. Oh, I have to change the thing. Hang on. Vallejo makes a mech paint that's fluorescent. It's quite thin, and it's very orange. I actually use this in the pearlescent mix to make my forest fire embers.
I could see that being very effective. Have an undead army, give it some fluorescent glow, come out with some black lights, and tell everyone they need to be quiet and turn off the lights. We're going to have a moment of silence so they can look at the undead army and then go, okay, game on.
You gotta have a emitter around, like the bottom of one of your big models or anything like that, like the black coach or something.
Yeah.
Bring out some dry ice so that you get kind of the haze effect across the table.
The smoke machine.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw somebody do that with in a competition with wisping cotton balls until it looked like from the top down it looked like absolute garbage, but from like a viewing angle, it actually looked really good. And
that was something I used to use when I played Imperial Guard Army. They would use smoke grenades a lot, so we would make a bunch of little round templates, put a bunch of cotton on it, and every time you'd throw off a smoke grenade, you could just like literally have little plumes of smoke. And if anyone was shooting through it, then you could see exactly the line of sight through smoke.
I like that idea a lot.
Super easy.
That's nice, yeah. And I love those simple little effects, like putting you blew out a tank, put up a burning cloud on it.
So, cotton balls.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, get out of the way. Whoa. It won't work. Come on. So the cotton ball effect looks kind of dumb from up high. I have to lean back in to touch my mouse and change the picture again. Add image and find image. But from down low.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's all about angle.
It's all about the angle of viewing.
Very nice.
Well, I think, are we getting close to wrap up? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to go get some cold beer.
Yeah, I was about to say. So let's just go, kind of everyone say, remind everyone who you are, and then we'll probably kind of sign up from there. Steve, go ahead.
Steve, I'm Steve Deathray. I'm just a guy that has some skills, and thanks for joining us.
Then we got Ryan.
I'm Ryan Hamar, and I approve this stream.
And if they want to watch your streams, where would they find? What was your name?
Oh yes. Oh my god, I didn't even think about. You can catch me and my co-hosts on twitch.tv/hammerpattern, all one word, at Wednesdays 6:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Perfect. And then we've got Michael.
Hi everyone, it's been me. I've been Michael. I've been here having tons of fun, just chatting about models with everyone. This is like, it really goes back to my old days of doing this kind of stuff. I really miss them. So thank you for bringing me back up to date on all this stuff. Yeah. And come catch me later. I'm going to be in the costume panel. So.
Sounds good. And I'm James, and you'll see me around Dork Tales sometimes, or sometimes over on Brick Harris's channel, where I run through some horror games and get mulched by enemies. It's great.
It's really true. It's really true. Thank you guys so much for coming and doing just all of this, like painting and talking and chatting, and it's just such a chill way to like start the day off. You know, I love it.
Have a cup of coffee, paint a couple models.
That's pretty rad. So thank you guys for being here. Definitely give everybody a follow. We have shout outs in the chat right now, so definitely go by Hammer Pattern, go by, of course, James. Do you actually ever do anything on Otheon?
I'm hoping to pretty soon. I've got to like rearrange my tech setup, and then I'll actually be able to do it again. It's just
nice.
I just haven't been around in the evening, so it hasn't been something I've been able to do.
Oh, that's fair. Go follow Sylvester Slays, who is slaying Skyrim these days from the looks of it.
Yay.
And don't forget that if you enjoy DorkX, DorkX is a fundraiser for the channel to help us acquire more art and more tech and more cool stuff to make this stream even better, and maybe even get a cup of coffee. So if you like this at all, if this was at all valuable to you, even like $5, go ahead and toss it in the tip jar. And we're almost at, like, we're getting close to $400, which is pretty good actually. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Nice. So be sure to come back at noon today, where we are having a panel at History at the Table, where a bunch of historians sit around and talk about how to bring history to your tabletop role-playing game experience. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I have a lot of questions to ask about periods of history that I'm not good at. Because right? So folks, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in not that long. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
All right.